Okay. Okay, so from your text...
I'm kind of, am I on speak? I hear you pretty well.
All right, well, I'm right here.
Okay.
I'll keep it close by. So tell me how, you sound really great. Your text messages, the last time we talked, it was like kind of a moment, right? Where it's like, go through the goddamn door.
Yeah. Yeah. I was realizing today it's been almost 3 weeks since we talked, and I was definitely excited to talk to you. There's been some pretty amazing moments. I'm like, I don't know, I'm almost verklempt. I'm almost tearing up with like happiness just because there's definitely our last talk. I've just been experiencing it, man. I've been like experiencing it. I can't say I'm like, I still have some things to talk about, but I've just had these moments of like such like the beyond bliss moments that have been almost like supernatural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of just like, with food, just feeling that complete disconnect of it meaning anything other than something to enjoy and to, fuel myself with. And just practicing, just kind of getting a kick out of the process of just practicing, eating when I'm hungry and listening for what my body's telling me and it's, just having no attachment to, oh, I feel full. There's no reason to just kind of pushing so many plates away and it not being, it doesn't even mean anything other than I'm just done.
Well, it should feel natural and it should feel easy. Like this wasn't straining for me to push that away. I didn't have to like have self-control. It was just like, I don't need anymore.
Yeah.
Here nor there.
Even, like the first week was awesome. I kind of felt like I've been let out of a cage as far as being able to feel like I could exercise and it not being for any fucked up reason other than I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's like, was practically just whistling zippity-doo-dah.
Zippity-doo-dah.
I was just like, I feel like I could just float away up into the clouds. Like, I was just like, excited to go, I took my first yoga class of my life, and I was, I had fun, it was funny, I was, trying, it was a little awkward for sure, and wobbling all around, but everybody was nice, and I felt great, and stretched, and moved, and I've been doing hikes, and my ankle's been okay. I mean, it hurts, and it can be limiting, but, it's not the end of the world, and, like, the physicality of my body, there's moments where I'll be aware of it, and I'll just go straight to, okay, I'll go back to that misery of like, okay, you want that? It'll just be a quick minute of like this or that. Okay, I take this. I choose this.
Yeah,
I choose this. It's just over and over, like,
it should be a real
hell, or do I choose this? I choose this then.
Yeah, totally. And in that moment, it's like, well, this isn't that big of a deal. Am I going to make this a problem?
Yeah, like it's really not. It's just I'll go, oh my god, I have to like, it'll getting up from the toilet. I'll be, here we go, up from the toilet. And I'll be like, oh man, and then in my head I'll go, wow, am I gonna really like get depressed because I have to just like heave myself up for half a second, just the little moments, like it's not a fucking bit. Like, am I gonna think I need to die and then spiral downwards so that I can get up from the toilet easier?
Yeah, well, catastrophizing it and feeling sorry for yourself. I mean, that's misery right there. That's part of hell. That's the hell of it too. That's not just feeling sorry for yourself and feeling pity and sad and victimized is the hell that we're trying to relieve you from too.
Yeah.
It's like, is this really that bad? Why catastrophize something that in reality is so not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's just in those moments.
Yeah.
Just as I embrace it, it's just and then especially with the eating, like I did take time to throw some tofu in the oven and steamed vegetables and food that I was craving, that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd worked these long days, and it was one of my jobs. There's just like frozen burritos and like shit, and I'd had that for a couple days, and I felt kind of gross, but it wasn't like emotionally gross. I just kind of felt like, I want some. I'm craving something.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's make some really clean stuff and have it at work.
Yeah, so this is how that works. What you just described is how, when I eat, if something sounds gross, why would you feed yourself that? Even if it is convenient, take a moment to work a little harder to get something that does sound good. And there's going to be times where that burrito hits the spot. It's perfect. Yeah. It's not here nor there. It works with your schedule. Yes. But there does come a point where you're like, ew. That's how it works. That's how, I can sit back here and go, oh, I had fettuccine Alfredo. We made homemade Alfredo. It does not sound good to me right now. Is it because the Alfredo is bad? No. It's because it's not working for whatever I need right now. For whatever reason. I don't need to sit here and demonize the Alfredo.
Yeah.
I'll just say it doesn't sound good. Clearly my body is not really into Alfredo. At different times Indian food is that way with me. There are times Indian food is like, it's calling my name. I can't stop thinking about the coconut naan. I can't.
Yeah.
And then there's time where there's like, oh, that doesn't sound good right now. Is it because the naan is bad and is it because that food is bad? No, it's not. It's because it's not what my body needs right now for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, sometimes it is. I don't question it or demonize it or play the game of morality around what sounds good and what doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Just feeling, I came home one night from work and I knew I had a couple days stretching out ahead of work, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. I was like, it's not a big deal to turn the oven on and throw this tofu in. It took, it was very easy. And so I kind of had these little brown rice cups and these tofu and veggies, and I had it for like the next 3 days in a row, basically. And, at work I was like, or normally I'll just eat my whole lunch and, then maybe get hungry again. But it was just like, oh, I ate some of it until I felt like, oh, I'm kind of satisfied now. And then a couple hours later, I ate some more of it until I was satisfied. Like, it just felt so good. It just felt like sanity. It just felt like sanity.
Yeah, it should feel easy. It's kind of like, well, I went to the bathroom when I woke up because I had to go pee. And then like a few hours later, I had to go pee again. So I went to the bathroom again. And then I went to the bathroom for whatever reason. I had to go poop. Then I went poop. I mean, it should feel like that.
Yeah. And so that's just been amazing. Like when I just feel these, I'll have these just rushes of like ecstasy. I can't explain it. Like it's just such like, wow. It's like I can just live now. Like I just felt, and I've even had these moments of like I feel like I'm landing in my body, like that I'm me again.
Yes.
Like I felt like I had this flash of myself like in the house I grew up in. Like I felt like I was walking around like I was 10.
Yep.
I was like, fuck, here you are. Like,
where have you been?
Like,
we're back.
And then I just, like literally like cried with just joy and happiness. Like I just can't even. So like there's that, which has been, and I had like 4 great days with my, with family and a close family friend, and I kind of texted you about. She was just like, we've known each other our entire lives. She knows everything about me, and she was just like, holy shit, I feel a shift in you. Like you feel so much calmer, and you just, she had some awesome feedback, and it just felt good talking to her about some of this stuff. And she opened up to me, and we kind of it was like such a nice connection about some of these issues she's going through. And it just kind of opened the door for more real connecting.
Yeah, real. How does that feel when it's real?
It felt so good because she's the one that I've kind of, I thought my niece liked her better, and then I was acting all shitty, and she was like pointed it out to me, some of my behavior, and I felt ashamed and gross, and felt like maybe she doesn't like me anymore. Like I kind of gone down, it just felt so good to just share with her some of that and some stuff, and her just loving me unconditionally and just feeling that connection again. It just felt so good. Yeah, it's just like amazing. I can't.
It's hard to describe.
It's just, yeah.
To me, it feels open, illuminated, unconditional. I felt love for total strangers. It was almost like I was connected even with nature on a whole nother level. I don't know how to explain it either. Besides,
to me, honest to God, it felt like I was an alien. Like it was supernatural. Like I'm actually an alien in outer space. Like I can't.
And I'm now here on this planet experiencing life through this body.
Yeah,
sure.
I was like an alien. I cannot even believe this crazy ass. I'm just walking around with a stupid smile on my face. I'm like, why are you so happy? You have I'm just literally like, there's no reasonable explanation right now. Nothing. You have the same problems or bills or shit. You're the same. You're new battery for your car, whatever. The same shit is happening. Like, why are you just walking around with this big ass smile on your face? It's like because I don't hate myself.
Yeah, you're not in survival mode anymore. Your whole brain is functioning differently.
Yeah, so
that's what it is.
So that's been like incredible, and so then then it's just I still have the little shadows can kind of creep in here and there.
Yeah, and some of that is conditioning.
Yeah,
and you'll catch it, and you'll go, oh yeah, no, yeah, no.
Yeah, like
you'd have to give up all of what you're experiencing to go back.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Like I'll still, like I hadn't weighed myself, and I was aware that that I didn't want to, because I was aware that like if I still wouldn't be like happy. I was worried that I would care if I was gaining weight. Like I wasn't sure. So then actually this morning I was like, okay, I'm just going to weigh myself this morning because I'm talking to Robin, and
if you have a reaction, we want to know.
If I have any reaction to this, I can talk to her about it. And I kind of was actually feeling like maybe I had gained a couple pounds, like my jeans were a little tighter, and I was like, oh, maybe, my mom's dryer is intense. Maybe he's just got fucking dry. It's like,
Here's what I would have done if it were me in that moment, and this is what I did have to do. Does it matter? Am I going to surrender the freedom I'm living in for one way or the other?
Yeah.
And I always would go, I would rather gain weight. So I accept that I'm going to be bigger. So I'd rather be bigger. So no matter what the scale says, I'm not willing to give up this freedom. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's no amount of fatness that is bad enough to get rid of this freedom.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've been trying to go up to, 300 pounds and beyond.
Yeah, in your mind, yeah.
And and there's a lot of times where I'm like, I could care less, bring it on. I'm just like, okay, I just need to get some more, which I do need. I need to go shopping and get some more, like, fatter clothes.
Yeah.
And go through my clothes. I've sort of been putting that off. I haven't really had a lot of time, but I've sort of been like, that's sort of looming.
Yeah, but that's exciting.
I mean, it is. I'm going to have a lot more room in my closet and in my drawers. I don't, and I'm sort of been like, okay, what clothes am I willing to get rid of? Like, part of me's like, well, if you don't finish them right this second, get rid of them. And I'm like, well, no, I have a lot of cute shit that's like 10 pounds from here. Like, what? Maybe I'll put them in a box.
Sure. Yeah, I would. If the body is lenient around a 10-pound swing, why not? But don't be like, I really need that and I want to hope that. You just have to go here. It's here or there. It doesn't matter to me. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then you know what? In 5 years, I'll give them away.
Yeah, right. I was fine with, like, obviously I have shit from, like, 50 pounds, 40 pounds, 30 pounds. Like, that's easy. I'll just be like, fuck, it can go. Like, and, you know, because then if whatever my body does, I could always just get new clothes up or down or whatever. But, so that's kind of been, like, and then this morning I did get on the scale, and I was down 3 pounds. And I got a little smile on my I got a little smile. I was like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to, I don't know, you know, so there's still some of that, like, not like the hope to lose weight is not, like, I've not felt that. I felt like this is literally it, like, this is it, for sure. But I'm definitely the step of being completely indifferent, like, that's still, I see if I, like, started dropping weight, that I would not necessarily get off on it, but I would certainly be like, oh, cool, good, I'll weigh less, you know, I don't know. So there's just little areas that are kind of,
you know what's going to happen to this freedom, right?
Oh, yeah, I know, it would just go down.
It literally disappears. Like, it disappears. You won't even recognize it's gone.
Yeah.
That's if it hasn't already happened.
Right. No, it hasn't already happened. I mean, I'm just aware of that it's not, you know, like trash cans and all the way. There's few little pieces of trash in the bottom of the trash can. I don't know. Or just a little bit of, like, vanity still, or, like, you know, just, like, looking at pictures of myself. One picture, ooh, I look kind of good there. Maybe I'm not as fat as I thought. And that picture, oh, look, I really am fat. Okay, that's cool. I'm fine with it. Oh, look at this picture. Ooh, I look good in that picture. Oh, wait, I don't look good in that. Like, well, looking at these pictures to determine, you know, there's just little bits of that. And I'll just kind of, like, I'll just sort of laugh it off and just go, that's so stupid and lame. But I know that in those euphoric moments, none of that exists.
None of it. It seems ridiculous. It's like...
So it's... Yeah.
It's like a pinhole way to see things.
And then, so, you know, that gets me, like, a little bit, I just have my eye on that. I don't want it to mess with my drive. And then there's times where I'll notice that I'll still just worry about things, and it was funny you posted that thing about anxiety and worrying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just like worrying still here and there just about my life. Like, you know, my business is still kind of unsettled of where things stand with my business partner, and worrying, you know, my cat, he has cancer, but he's been doing good for a year, and worrying about how I'm going to handle that when he goes, and worrying about my mom dying, and I kind of just still am aware of, like, okay, I have these, like, fluttering anxiety about things, and
well, the good news is you're not repressing any of that. You're not ignoring it.
Yeah. And then I spent the day with my best friend on Sunday, and we hadn't, like, really sat down and talked for several weeks. We've been busy, and I was listening to her talk, and I was like, I don't know, I was sort of left and realized I was almost traumatized to an extent, because I was just there were just ways that I felt disconnected from her, and it was, I think, because just with all this stuff I'm going through, and as she was talking, she's like, you know, telling me about this situation, and her thoughts about it, and this situation, you know, going through all these situations in her life, and all I could see was just fight or flight, like how she's just fight or flight. And, you know, and then I was just sort of tongue-tied, because she is so, you know, if I tried, I couldn't really feel super safe about, I don't know, I just left kind of going, you know, it's just, how do you handle changing and with friends and it's not, and and I was definitely aware of, she's even talking about her therapist and stuff, or, that her therapist is saying, like, oh, you don't need people like that in your life, people she's having conflict with, and I was, no, I don't know, and then I, I just had to watch myself to be like, oh, my therapy's better than your therapy,
Well, I think,
like, Robin would never say that, she'd have empathy towards that person, what do you mean, you're, like, I don't know, I just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Like, you just changed, and I was realizing I don't have, that's why I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk to Robin. It's just someone who I feel, like, stimulated by and inspired by and uplifted by, and, like, that I can talk freely about what I'm going through, and they won't stare at me weird, or I don't, you just kind of feel, I don't know, I'm trying, having to navigate these relationships and navigate the people in my life is so that I'm changing. I've changed.
Yeah, and that's I went through the same thing, and to the point where I questioned if I should stay married to my husband.
Yeah.
Because I knew the relationship was created when I was in fight or flight.
Yeah.
Total survival mode. I was latching onto this person who was taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be open to divorcing someone, hurting someone else. Because I knew to recover, I had to be myself. I'd allow myself to blossom. And it might not be what they like. It might not be what he wanted. I'm not willing to be controlled or manipulated anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to be open to loss of love, loss of family respect, because I knew I'd married out of the religion, so immediately I lost respect from certain people in my own family, right? And so you open yourself up when you blossom for someone going, I don't like that. And how I relate to people in survival mode is I have a lot of compassion for it. I can see it for what it is. I don't take responsibility for it unless they pay me. But even then, I won't take responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a little distance from people who are in that space, because you can be a target and they won't even know it. It's like it's the codependency you might be feeling. There might have been some codependency in your relationship. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely has been.
Where you're her rescuer, and you're just like not going to play that role anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't love this person.
I've tried. It was just hard to have. It's hard to have like honest communication with someone in that mode, because they're so, and I recognize it obviously because I've been there, and I can still,
And they believe what they think, and they're going to defend what they think, and they want what they want.
The defensiveness, and I'm like, where I can feel it. Like, this is like, if I question her take on this, like, it's going to feel like life or death to her.
It is. So you don't do that, and you just agree with everything she says.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Good.
At one point I was like, is there anything you could have done differently in that situation? It was like one of my bravest questions, and she answered it. She thought about it, and I was like happy. It was like a moment where she's like, yeah, I could have done this different and that different, and I was just like, yes, that's exactly like so.
Yeah, sometimes they're just venting. She's venting. Sometimes it's like, what do you need? What do you need from me? Are you venting? Do you need someone to just, you just need, this is where maybe your next lesson is boundaries.
Yeah.
Because you may have before have been like, not had a boundary around her issues. Her issues might have become your issues.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you...
Like,
and we're going to do this, and I'm going to rescue you, and you thrived on that. And so, but yet, think about that drama, what that has done to your life up to this point. Even if you're rescuing or, being a victim with your friend, it's really been horrible for your life. It has not served you. So at some point, you just have to have boundaries around what you're not willing to do for friendship ever again.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to do that. I have friends that I have very, very limited close friends. Very, very small number. Okay, less than 5 people that I have very close to me. I'm not willing to be a codependent rescuer for them either.
Yeah.
Again, there comes a point where where are the boundaries? You can love and respect and actually care about the well-being of this person, but you can't create the well-being of this person, especially when she is part of her own drama.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to let their lives play out for them to figure it out. So you can
I'm just not willing to like stay the same as her so that we can be close and we're so alike. Like,
yeah, that's not real friendship either, though. That's not true friendship.
Yeah.
That sounds like co-victimization, which is part of codependency.
And just, you know, and she might, like, there was a point where I was kind of starting to share, you know, just bits and pieces of some of this work and about my, you know, reactions to things and how I can, you know, that I'm feeling like I'm not so reactionary or that I'm not, you know, I was kind of telling her about some of that stuff, and she was just like, well, I just need to interject here. I mean, some of that is just you, you know, you just can't help it. Like, you just have these, and I accept that about you. And I don't think
she doesn't want you to
tell you that
change.
You're wrong. I know, you know, when you just, sometimes you just, I understand. You just get in some of these moods, and I always love you for it. I mean, I don't know, you know, I was just sort of, she's like, you can't help it. And I just finally, I was like, I can't help it, and I am helping it.
Yeah, and she's feeling threatened by your maturity.
A little bit. I was just sort of.
Oh, I feel sad for her. That's sad for her because she's gonna feel a sense of abandonment.
A little bit. Or I just started to feel like alone. So normally I feel so. You know, I adore her. She's a blast. She's been, you know, 27 years of close friendship. I mean, she's, you know, she's a lifer. It's just, I was just sort of, you know, then some stuff with our business that we're trying to, you know, we're trying to finalize, like, what does our business look like? Where we go from here? What are our roles? And it's sort of, you know, I'm just kind of, yeah, like there's just, we've been working on it and stuff, but I don't know if I just feel like I'm kind of in a more, I don't know, I feel unsettled about it. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get some help with that with my aunt and maybe even, I don't know, it's just, because there's all this stuff that happened, you know, we kind of had like 4 years where it just was really dysfunctional, where I was doing a lot more with the business and she wasn't, and I was resentful, and, you know, we worked a lot of that out, and I can see how I enabled it to all continue happen. I chose to keep doing more than, you know, I chose to keep running the ship, and kind of, I'm sure I had some victim, you know, look at me, I'm running everything, and she's not.
Yeah, well, that's the resent. That's what resent is.
Yeah, so, I mean, I definitely had that, and, you know, we've worked a lot of that out, and as we move forward, and we've had a couple conversations here and there, because we're about to meet with our agent for the first time in, like, a year, and to kind of talk to her about some of the stuff that we've gone through, and, you know, kind of get on a new track with her, and so I was kind of bringing it up to her, like, okay, what are we going to tell our agent? Like, you need to get our story straight. I don't want to, like, suddenly start fighting in front of her. That's not what happened. Like, I'm all, what's this?
That's funny.
You know, I can just imagine this shit show.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, we need to, like, get our story straight, and, like, what's the sentence of what happens here?
Yeah.
And so then I was sort of gingerly saying, you know, kind of what I just said to you. Like, I sort of feel like, you know, I had sort of started taking over things, and then, you know, I got resentful and bitchy and kind of pushed you away, and it's, so she's like, well, that's really one-sided. Like, she kind of had an issue with that I said that I did everything, and I'm sort of like, you know, there are facts. Anyway, I just was sort of like, uh-oh, like, are we... So I'm supposed to move forward and continue to be in the role of being in charge and doing stuff, most of the things, but yet am I not recognized for that, or what do I need? It's business. It's different. I don't know. It's kind of murky is how it's going to look.
Is she wanting more ownership of what's going on?
It's like a 50-50. We're business partners.
So, and it's 50-50.
Definitely more kind of the one that can... First of all, I have more time. She's married, and I have more time as far as, the emails and keeping track of what we need to do. Who are we contacting? What projects are we doing? What needs to be done for the project? Okay, she'll kind of put little PDFs together when, okay, do this. I sort of am like in charge in a way. I sort of just landed in that role, as well as creative. And she's just super, super creative, and like she just has a lot of like raw creative shit that's all over the place. And I'm kind of good at dancing with that creativity and then bringing it down onto the page, like kind of organizing it so that it can have some structure when it's presented to people. But it's that's why, I stick with her. I love her, but also because I recognize, like, it's a true spark of super talent.
And how do you put value on that? How do you evaluate that?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you put a, percentage of ownership on that? I say that because I know it's like intellectual property.
Yeah.
That's like, how does one establish, how do we put on paper, quantify intellectual or talent?
Yeah.
That isn't about time or effort. It's about, that's hard to do. It's hard to do.
It is, but I do feel, I feel that it's 50-50. It just, I feel like it can work out. Like we just need some tweaking and part of me is feeling what I'm looking at myself and what I'm feeling. I'm like, what do I fucking need here? It's almost like I feel like I need like a recognition or appreciation. I still, like any way you slice, like I guess in my mind, any way you slice it, if somebody was handling my business for me for 4 years and they were being a raging bitch about it, even they were like, look, I'm fucking sick of doing this by myself. I don't feel like I would be able to start turning against them and thinking they're a bitch. It's business. And any way I sliced it, I would be like, you have every reason to be a bitch, and I appreciate your handling everything.
Okay, so this is where she clearly does not think this way.
She doesn't seem to just surrender and just go, I appreciate, yes, you handled everything when my parents died, you took over everything, I never got back on board, I was, she just says, I pulled away from the business, because, you were so bitchy, and I'm like, I was bitchy because you were non-existent. And so we go round and round, and so it's like, at one point, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm just going to have to let go of needing her to even, what is it? Am I still, playing a little victim here? Am I digging in my heels?
You're holding her to a standard that she clearly isn't emotionally mature enough to handle.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is she would open-mindedness. Empathy. You're describing someone that can go, wow, I can have empathy. This person is kind of lacking in that department.
Yeah.
Right? Because to some degree she feels entitled to how she's done it. Because you're a bitch. It doesn't change the actual business.
Yeah.
So this is where you're dealing with some emotional maturity differences.
Yeah.
This is I learned this in a very difficult way. I went into business with some people that my definition of loyalty and their definition of loyalty was very different. I didn't find out until they weren't very loyal based on my degree of loyalty, which is huge to a fault, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like, who the fuck would do that to someone? Well, to them, they're like, who would expect that out of someone? Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It was wrong all the way around. My expectations, I just made the assumption. This person, my degree of loyalty is what everybody's degree of loyalty is.
Yeah, I've done
That's not gonna, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that they are choosing to be not loyal to them. They're like, no one should give away that much freedom or power to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're more defensive. So they don't give things away so quickly.
Yeah.
They don't share. They think that they don't trust you. They think you're trying to manipulate them. I mean, this is how it works, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to the expectations that are flawed. Reality is showing itself right here. In this relationship, this is how this works.
Yeah.
So if you want this relationship to continue, you're going to have to adapt to what she really is, how she really is, without feeling like a victim.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not her that's victimizing you. It's what you expect from her that is.
It's true.
Right? And so what you want to do is, first of all, the truth is being known, so you pull back.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get, would you do what you were doing if you knew it wasn't going to be acknowledged, whatever? Would you still do it?
Right.
If the answer is yes, then who gives a shit? Because that's just the way you work. Whether you get something out of it or not. That's your level. That's what you like to do. That's what makes you feel good about the work that you're doing. Do you need someone to acknowledge it? What are you doing?
No.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why at the end of the day, I continued for 4 years because I was like, this is my business too. And I just kind of just started doing stuff more for me instead of for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, so now I'm having to sort of have to try to go back to it being us. And it's just kind of like hard because I've got so used to just it being for me. And so now it's all of a sudden, now we're supposed to go back to, oh, it's us and kind of like this new start. And I want that. I just, I can just feel myself continue, like just holding back and feeling unsettled. Like it's just, no, I still don't quite think we have the same idea of work, of this. And it's not that she doesn't have a work ethic, because she does. She's amazing. I don't mean to trash her. And when there is a real deadline, she'll come through, but I swear it'll be like 11:59 if it's due at 12. And I'll be crawling out of my skin, biting my hand, and then boom, it'll come through. But it's just sort of like, so I kind of have to adjust. Or just, I keep thinking, like, what is it that you need? It's like, because we're going to have this one more meeting with the mediator, and I have to go into this meeting going, what do I need for her to just say, yes, you're great. You did everything for 4 years, and I understand why you would be a bitch about it, and I appreciate, I don't know. I'm like, but I see what you're saying, which is like, I'm just going to have to try to just fucking let go of that and give it just.
Well, I think I think I had it in my head a second ago.
Sorry.
It's okay. I think what you need, okay, here's what I'm getting from what you're saying, and I could be wrong, so guide me here. I think you need to look at how much you need this to work. Because if you need it to work, that's probably the source of what's going on. The problems, the tension. Where your need for her to perform goes up. If this was a, let's just say, exploratory business, I want to give a comparison so if you can feel if you respond differently.
Okay.
I want you to imagine that you already have a good income and this is fun. This is like your creative outlet, possibility. It's fun, it's punchy, it's whatever you want it, right? How would that affect how you relate to her in this process?
Well, I get what you're saying. It kind of comes back to like being pressurized around something.
Yes. So if this is really important and it needs to be successful, can you see how the pressure goes up and why you would project that onto her as your partner?
Yeah.
Because you need her to perform. That makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, of course we need this to work, and that's why the pressure on her is going up, and why I'm like bitchy, like feeling a little bitchy about the fact that she's underperforming.
Well, that kind of leads me to the next thing, I think, which is another layer, which is, I definitely don't have the, I'm definitely taking a look at my ambition and wondering where it is these days, because for so long, I was so, and I think some of it was pressurized and it was fight or flight, and it was some of that dysfunctional shit that made it so pressurized and so important, and I took such pride in, like, I had no idea I was this ambitious, I'm gonna go straight to the top, and I'm gonna, you know, like, I was
yes.
like so dramatic about it and how important it was to me, and talking to people about it and the dream and all this shit. And it's just sort of lately, after all the twists and turns and all the shit, I'm just sitting here going, I don't even know how much I give a fuck anymore. Like,
well, you can look at maybe what you were doing before was fantasizing. And you wanted it, and look at how totally fantasy. And because now you're in reality, you've had trial and error. You've had trial and error, and you could look at that and be really kind of proud. Not in a like pride way, like inflated, I'm better than I actually am way. But like, holy hot damn, I just kicked some ass. It didn't, obviously the fantasy was like, it doesn't matter what the fantasy was. What just happened was kick ass.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, I feel that too, that it came from me being willing to, you know, just to let it all go and go work at Costco happily.
Hell yeah, that would be a great job. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going like, I don't care. Like, or I'll just get, you know, start working on my dog care business. And, you know, there's other things I could do. Like, so. Okay,
so hold on a second. I want you to pause in that feeling or that thought and tell me what it feels like.
I mean, it feels amazing.
Okay, where does that tell you?
It tells me that I don't need this to work with her anymore.
You don't.
You know, and
how's that feel? Just for a second. It doesn't. You really don't need it. In fact, the freedom that you're actually feeling in the heart sounds like that's really what you want. I mean, you'd have to let go of the fantasy. That's the hard part. But it could be that. Well, if you don't need this to work out, you can just let the chips fall in with it. Doesn't have to be pressurized. She's going to perform at her level. That means if it's not adequate, you're okay with that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because in reality, you'd be really fucking happy working at Costco and taking care of the dogs. Okay?
Seriously.
Yeah. So you have a great, it's everything is win, 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 all of it. Even if this doesn't work out, win.
Yeah.
Right? And you can be really proud of what you and she did. And you know what? It's like, don't rely on that anymore. Go get a goddamn job at Costco and then put this as a side job.
Yeah. Or just
fun job.
I don't know. I sort of like, that feels good to me as far as, even as we move forward. I mean, I don't need it. And then the first thing that came up from my heart was that I do want it, as far as I do want to be creative with her. Yeah. That's from my heart.
So that's why I said, you don't have to quit. It's just a matter of like changing it from the center of your life to the fringe.
Which, I mean, that pretty much, I kind of have accepted that, but it's just sort of as we move forward, and, you know, there's still that part that's like, look, I do have this amazing agent, who's a great agent in this town, like, who actually adores us, and I love writing, so I'm also, part of our thing that we're going to talk to her about, which is great, is like, would she be open to working with us individually as well as a pair? And then I could go meet with her by myself and just ask her, you know, I have different ideas of things that excite me to do on my own creatively. And, you know, kind of pick my agent's brain, or how does she see it, or what would she, you know, stuff like that is exciting to me, and that we're both open to that, and kind of that's much less codependent than in the past. We never would have done that. Well, I
think the difference here is that you're open to find out what happens rather than this is what we think is going to happen and we're going to try to force it.
Yeah.
Feel the difference?
It does feel, all of a sudden it doesn't seem as important for her to be like, you did help and you did run everything. So now I can just sort of sit back and like be grown up and be like, I don't need her to pat me on the head.
No, because she's doing what she's doing well and you're doing what you do well, and you don't need her to acknowledge it. take out the necessity. Look at this as a choice. This is like taking a hike. I do it because I really enjoy it. It's work. I love the nature. I'm breathing hard. My ankle can hurt a little bit, but god damn, I love being out in nature.
Yeah.
Right? I love this, it's kind of like that. It's like, no one's forcing me to do this. There's something I'm getting out of it. And I don't have to have, because you're open to find out where you naturally land, it allows her to be her and you to be you.
Yeah. I like that. It already was so helpful with, just being pressurized and how intense, my responses can be. And there are times where I do feel like I'm a little bit more of the straight man in the pair, especially more so lately. Like when we were, sometimes I just take things more seriously. Like I'll be more, like when we're meeting our agent, I was like, oh, well, let's figure out what we're going to say. And she's like, oh, well, we'll just tell her, oh, everything got fucked up and whatever. Hey, we'll just say la la la. And in my head, I was like I'm like, no, I'm not just going to try to be cutesy and funny to this fucking agent who's having a drink with us and let the chips fall with her. Like, this is important to me. I want to have like a mature statement to her. I don't want to just be like, throw my hair and be funny. I was like, and
well, your integrity, you're connecting with your integrity right now.
Yeah. And it's not that she doesn't have integrity. It's just sometimes I'm just noticing, I don't want to apologize for me feeling a little bit more sometimes like serious and uptight, or I don't know if the word is, I guess, kind of uptight, or just sort of how I want to do fucking business. I have like I can have a very serious side, and she can too.
Well, what do you mean by serious? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that just means you have a degree of integrity that you want to promote. You're not going to lie. You're not going to pretend.
Yeah, it is. It is an integrity, and
you're just not going to deny. You're not in denial.
Yeah. And I guess, and then she kind of seemed like she got a little like defensive, or kind of looked at me like I was being an uptight bitch because I wanted to just have our ducks in a row before we go sit down with this person, and just literally just to be able to say like what's happened the last year where she's barely heard from us, because we've been like on a sabbatical type thing, and I don't want to just shoot off the top of my head out my ass in this moment. I want to have kind of an idea of what we're gonna say, and yes, our agent loves us. She knows we're kind of kooky, and she obviously loves my business partner too, and I'm sure it would be cute and charming, whatever she says, and it would be fine. I don't know. But I do like just letting it fall where it's gonna fall, and that the neediness of this is gone. So that does feel good, and I need to let that sort of filter into everything.
Yeah, the way you do is by letting go of the fantasy. Because then you're open to, well, what is this? How far could this go with the truth of how we work together?
Mm-hmm.
What is the real talent here? Are we over our fucking, are we way away? Are we inflating was the fantasy an inflation? Because it's not necessarily as easy as it should be. You just have to be open to reality. Reality is that it might be much less than your fantasy wanted, but it still gives you joy in your writing and fun in this process because you aren't taking it so serious. You're not relying on this as your retirement or your ego or your survival. You don't want this to be your survival.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, that could have been the problem. This to you was survival. Yeah, and it was exciting because you could have hit... Yeah, you were going to hit the pearly gates of survivability, and it's like, it needs to be fun. You need to get back to your creativity and the fun of it and the potential that if it happens naturally, it's meant to be. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have to be forced.
Yeah.
And the forcefulness might have been where you guys were making mistakes. And maybe that's where you made mistakes. That's where your resentment came in, is because you were trying to force it. It was your survival. Your business partner doesn't need to survive on this. To her, it's probably fun. Gives her an outlet. She's good at this. She likes you. You know.
I mean, she has like the dream too, and wants some, but she doesn't. That's kind of was, you know, definitely a difference. You know, she has a husband, a house, a car, this or that. You know,
a second income to support her.
Yeah, all that. And I was like single in my apartment with my jalopy car. Like, you know, I've gotten a new car now, and I'm kind of
and you're, you know,
you're just on two different. Yeah, it was just more like this has to happen. And so
and on top of that, you've been in a very dysfunctional relationship with this other guy. You've had a really rough year. You had a lot of things come forward in your own. And you know what? It's time to pull back from the survival of it all to find out what is natural and to keep the fun in it, and to keep it. That gives the grace. That gives your partner grace. That gives you grace. That allows it to be more exciting and less demanding.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the truth is, when all the shit's out of the way, I mean, it is, you know, there is magic that happens with us.
It should happen naturally. It shouldn't be forced.
Yeah.
Let it be fun. Let it be like, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, oh, well, I have so many other ways to express myself. This isn't the only way to express yourself.
Yeah.
It's like a house. You know, I had this house and I loved it so much, and I re-landscaped it, and I did hand wall painting. I did, you know, and I ended up leaving it. And I remember thinking, this house doesn't own my creativity. I'm the one that redid the landscaping. It's just a piece of art. Everywhere I go, it's going, I will have what the energy of this space I created it. It's not the house that owns it. It's me. I take it with me. Every house is going to have the same vibe, the same feel, because it's the one I'm creating.
Yeah.
You know, and so your creativity and your expression of yourself and your humor can be expressed in a variety of different ways. So try it with this, try it with that. And you don't have to have the perfect outcome. Get rid of the outcome concept and find out what the outcome will be. So if you just stay true to your integrity, how is it going to land? You can just, and then have no expectations around it. So whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter to you, because the reward is in the process of creativity that you are in.
Yeah.
It's like, I go back to like, okay, a parallel would be me writing this book. Not that I'm enjoying the goddamn book, but I will enjoy when it's published and someone else can read it. And I don't have to figure out how to help them. They can read it and help themselves. Make sense? So I don't care if it sells. I don't care if people don't like me. They might think everything I'm saying is shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't matter to me. So the potential, let's just say, of sales, the potential of what happens, I have no desire to even think about that. Imagine what would change if I wrote this book based on the goal of becoming an expert or becoming the next new thing. Imagine if that was my goal, what would happen?
Yeah, you would.
It would change the way I talk. It would change the content of what I'm writing.
Yeah.
You feel that? See how that changes things? So if I go into my integrity, which is go into your suffering. My integrity is to write a book that can help someone in that dark, horrendous hell, and to give them hope.
Yeah.
There's hope. You can get out. And here's some things to think about. That person gets hope. Oh my God, that right there is my joy.
Yeah.
Okay, so my integrity is inside the process. It's not in an outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm feel like I can, just be generous and gracious with her in my partnership with her. I just, I don't, and just keep my, integrity intact and what I need and all that, but to just, I was just kind of feeling like I was holding on to something I needed to let go of, but just holding on to, I haven't been, I haven't been properly acknowledged, and why should I continue to do something I've never even been acknowledged for? It's like, I'll just do what I do because I want to do it, not because I need somebody to fucking toot a horn for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's the truth, too. I think if you go back into it, I'm doing this because I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels good.
If you get the survival out of it, if it becomes like play, a hobby, think of it as a hobby, all of a sudden you'll see the difference. You'll feel the difference.
Yeah. And it's not like she's, she certainly has integrity too with people we deal with and deadlines and all that stuff. We're not dealing with the
total flake.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you think of it as like a hobby, does her behavior need to change?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm sort of feeling like. No, like I can't change it anyway, really.
I know, but if it was a hobby, you'd be the where it's important for you to see is like, oh yeah, I'd give her more grace. Yeah. I wouldn't be so strict. I wouldn't be so judgy. I wouldn't be so demanding. I wouldn't have such high expectations. But because once it becomes your livelihood, once it becomes your survival, now I have expectations because I gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, just if it becomes, just even beyond like the bills or money, it's just is it gonna be my, the jewel in my crown to tell the world that I didn't waste it?
That's the ego, right? If it's really about proving yourself amazing, well, you get to suffer.
See, I told you we were gonna get somewhere, and
I'm special.
All the naysayers said I'd never do it.
Well, that's survival.
Yeah.
That's your third hierarchy of need. I need to make sure people know I'm special.
Yeah, just that I'm not stupid for like moving to Hollywood and thinking I can break in. Like,
well,
I don't need like that's so dwindling and that's like gone.
Well, who cares? And what if it was stupid? I don't care. It's what I wanted to do. I'm having fun.
Yeah, and I'm so proud and have had such a blast and have so been in the game. Like it has been exciting. And if this is all it ever is, then
worth it.
I'm like, I love it. It's awesome.
Okay.
See? It took guts. So.
Yeah. So do you feel the difference between being driven by your integrity versus driven by the ego?
Yeah.
One is more humble. One is more gracious. One is more connected, more loving with others. Again, more gracious with yourself, less impulsive, less facade, right? Whereas the other one for the ego is all about facade. It's very tense, very fake.
Yeah.
Feel the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels good. It just feels good just being more chill in life. I just can't even believe it. It's like a magical spell. Everything just goes easier. There's just like across the board. I just am constantly having these situations arise where I'm just like, wow. When I think about what I would have done just even 3 months ago, 4 months ago, just choosing to mind my own business and to be gracious. I can't believe how much easier life goes and relationships go, and it's just so much less drama. Like
it's easy.
Yeah.
I know. Nothing's changed.
Yeah. I'm still sitting here the same size. I mean, 3 pounds less, but...
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Instead of 3 pounds up, now I'm 3 pounds down.
It's like losing 6 pounds. You lost 6 pounds in your head because it was 3 pounds up in your head, so you actually lost 6 pounds.
And what's so funny is that whatever, 3 pounds ago was the exact weight when I started HCG 2 years ago. It's like to the number.
Yeah, karma has a way of coming around.
So I gained it all back to the T.
I wish we had our original sessions. I don't know if I recorded any of them where I was like, yeah, you're gonna gain it all back.
Oh yeah, the first time I talked to you while I was on it, my heart froze. I was like, shut up!
She's jinxing it.
And I'm like, Robin cursed me. Now I am gaining it all back.
Like I am a sorcerer of sorts. Oh, that's hilarious.
Whatever. I just knew when it's all even, everything's all balanced. It's like,
God.
okay, you gained it all back, and what a freaking journey the last 2 years. I went from losing 50 pounds to gaining 10, then losing 20, then gaining 30, then losing 10, then gaining 50. I'm slowly making myself going up, and then boom, I could not be stopped. It just landed.
Yeah. So if you were to lose, and I'm doing this intentionally. So imagine you're going to lose 50 pounds.
Woohoo!
Yeah, oh my God, that would be so amazing. My life would be so much better. I mean, it would be I'd be so much happier. I could wear all those hot clothes and I'd be like, look at me. I am a one hot bitch. No, but for real. How would you feel about it? Knowing what you know now. Don't give me the answer you think I want to hear. I want the truth to come out.
If I just slowly over the next few months lose 50 pounds.
No, it doesn't matter how it happens. Slowly, fastly, it doesn't matter. Let's just imagine I'm a fairy and I'm going to go ding, ding, ding. You're 50 pounds less.
Well, I would certainly, I don't know, it would be really hard to just be completely neutral about it. I would feel a little bit of yay, it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier in physical ways. I would definitely have a little bit of better than gaining 50. It'll be easier getting around.
No, well, keep in mind, there's no guarantee it's going to stay.
Yeah. But
What did you learn? What have you learned?
I've learned that it's just, nothing changes. I'm still the same soul in the same body. And yeah, it's not gonna change anything as far as my. I'm glad. I don't know what the right answer is.
Well, you would need to sit in it. I know. Well, you'd need to sit in it because it's.
I went all over the room.
You did. I was just listening to you. But the question is, if you lost that 50 pounds, if I could be a fairy and go bing, and you'd be boom.
Yeah.
With what wisdom you just gained, regaining 50 pounds, how would you feel about it?
Well, if I did have a knee jerk of it, really, I would feel like nothing. I would just feel like, I'm just sitting on the couch right now the same way, however much weight was on this body.
Would you want to pay attention to it?
No.
Why?
It could just reawaken the beast.
Well, it takes all that freedom and puts it into a pinhole again. Would you really make it important?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
No, you would ignore it. That's what recovery feels like. I asked that to you, and I had my own sense of what I would do in your case, and I was like, I would ignore it. I wouldn't even acknowledge it. Why would you even acknowledge it? If you acknowledge it, what's going to happen? Why does it fucking matter?
Yeah.
If it matters for even 1%, what happens to the freedom? Poof.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like now you're your body. Now you're saying, I need this.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't care. If you don't care, what's the likelihood you'd regain it?
I won't.
Yeah. It's the caring about it that is the problem.
Yeah.
You have to get to that. So your first answer was, I would care. I would care. I would, it would be like, why would you even care? I mean, at all times, you would need to be okay at regaining. Be like, I'd rather gain 50 more pounds if it means that's what I have to do to stay free.
Yeah.
You can hand me 50-pound loss and I would say, I don't care. I'd rather reject 50-pound loss if it means freedom. I don't want to be held hostage to a 50-pound loss again.
I know that I am like grateful that I've gained that 50 pounds back. If I had like kept it off or lost more and was just living like that, I'm so grateful for this process and for, I have no like regrets about anything.
Yeah. Can you see how everything you've experienced has been important for you?
Yeah. That's what I was feeling too. I was just so like, I wanted it to just happen faster. And I just wanted to like, where's my snap? How come she keeps snapping her fingers?
Well, you have it. It is a snap. It's just, what did it take to get you there?
Yeah.
It's just.
And it was agony. Like I was kind of hearing you talk to another client, like you feel the whole Grim Reaper thing, and it was like, check. Like it lasted for like 2 weeks probably. I just was in agony, and I could not. It was the weirdest sensation. Like, where is this agony? Where did this even fucking come from? Just because I'm having to accept I'm fat?
Yeah, because it's not the fatness that you're having to accept. It's failure. It's I lost.
Failure, what people think, and giving it all up, and just just sought like an agony, as if like the
pride
agony, like somebody died or I died or something dumped me, like just the beyond any pain of. I'm feeling this just for myself, that I have to be fat. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, well, it comes down to how you identified yourself from a position of ego. And so that it's like the death of the ego. It's the death of survival. And you're sitting in this space of like, you're going to be nothing without me.
Yeah.
You're going to be nothing without me. And you have to say, I'd rather. That's like the devil saying, you're going to be nothing without me. And you got to be able to say, I'd rather be nothing without you.
Yeah. It is a burning hell. And
it is.
Like a fiery burning hell. And just driving around crying in the shower, crying myself to sleep over what? Because I can't be thin and sexy and hot. Like, I was crazy.
Yeah, I know. But it's not crazy. I know.
It's not crazy. It's like,
it's real.
And I kind of get scared. I still, I feel like it's kind of scary to even say it out loud. Like, I keep getting scared. I don't want to jinx it and then hang up and all of a sudden be like, fuck, why did I say? Now all of a sudden it's still shaky here and there. I still kind of, still little things will creep in here and there. But now I so know what the fight is for now. Like, now that I've felt that feeling, it's just so easy to just stay true to it, stay on point. Because that's what I want. It's best feeling.
It is, and you just have to be honest. It's really about honesty. As things arise, you be honest. As things arise, you're just honest. You're honest with everything.
Yeah, especially like with hunger. It's so funny. I'll hear you in my head. Just be fucking honest. Tell yourself the truth. Are you hungry? And I'll be like, no. It's like, tell the truth. Are you hungry, Kristen? Tell the truth. Are you full right now? And there's plenty of times where I'll go, yes, I'm full, and I would like to continue eating the rest of this. And I'll go, okay, go for it. It's no problem. I'll eat the rest of it, and maybe I'll be a little too full, and it'll just be a learning thing. Like,
yep, you got it. And now I'm like, okay, was it worth being this uncomfortable? Okay, probably not. Well, next time I'll remember this. Yeah, now it's a natural learning curve.
And there's times,
it's not forced.
and there's definitely times where I will still compulsively overeat, but I'm 100% aware that I'm doing it. And and I just give myself the grace to do it. Like, if I'm out, if someone's talking, or if I'm nervous, or, there'll be times where I'll just be like, oh, I'm not hungry, and I'm choosing to eat it anyway. This is crazy. And I'll just go, so what? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not life and death. This isn't a moral decision. This is and it's mostly gray. It's mostly gray.
Yeah, like, it's like, who cares? It doesn't, like, and then I just want to treat my and then I kept coming back down to, and then a couple times where it would creep in, or I was really looking over my body for the first time, like in the mirror at all angles in my underwear, going, oh wow, that is very really looking at, taking in all the weight and the fat, and looking at it and accepting it, and it's like, and I would kind of, it was a little bit here and there, like, whoa, that's pretty big there, and then I would just go, your only responsibility is to be honest about when you're hungry and when you're full, and just stay the fuck out of it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not important. What do you need from the body? What do you need?
It's not important. And literally, here you go. This is a reflection of your belief system. And you have a new belief system. Like, just don't worry. There's nothing to worry about. This isn't a problem.
Yeah, if you don't believe in thin supremacy, you got a pretty hot body,
Yeah.
It's the thin supremacy that's holding you hostage. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait to post this other session from today. I will at some point, but it's about thin supremacy and racism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, still, and I definitely, I just wait with bated breath for you to post your next videos, because I'm just still listening to them, like, just about every day, just constantly. It's like I feel like I am coming out of straight up brainwashing. Like, I've been straight up totally brainwashed my entire life, and then I'm now coming out of it, but it's like I still need that kind of reinforcement of the new roads in my brain. So I love listening to it. And
the goal is to not have any more roads, that your roads are coming from your nature, that it's natural, that it's open, that it's changeable. It's not like we're re-brainwashing you.
Yeah.
I am not giving you a supplement to shift to. It's really, here's what's open to you. It's infinite. Brainwashing typically is, let that go, here's another.
Yeah.
Like a new program. This isn't a new program.
That's true.
Right? It's like, what have I told you the next way to be is? Besides compassionate, open-minded, loving, accepting, which are all symptoms of someone who's not in survival mode.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get those things when you're still in survival mode. And that's the hard thing, is people hear those and they're like, okay, I'm taking notes. I'm going to do all those things, but they're still in survival mode. So they judge themselves for why they have a hard time getting that way. Why can't I be loving towards myself? Well, because you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
So getting out of survival mode requires that you feel capacity, that you feel internally capable of loss. It's of the downside. Not I'm capable of winning. Yeah, no, that's easy. It's capable of losing. You can be capable of losing, being rejected, abandoned, loss, failure, inadequacy. Basically, survival mode can't win.
Yeah.
That's going against survival mode, essentially. You're basically saying, I'm okay with abandonment, rejection, and disapproval. Not willing to suffer anymore for someone else's approval. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to lie who I am. I'm not going to do and become what someone else wants me to become so that they can be happy with me, just so that I can get approval. So you're kind of unraveling that third hierarchy of need and becoming immune to it. Doesn't mean that you don't it doesn't mean that you don't want love or need love in your life. It's just that you don't need others to do it for you. You can love yourself. You can love life. You don't have to have conditions around the love of life.
Yeah.
So, all right, I have to go.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to help you. I'm glad that it's starting to click. You're getting little clicks that you can feel how different it is. The feeling, the sensation of like freedom, it's pretty magical. It's hard to explain. And you didn't know it existed ahead of time. So it's not like we had this to go, well, here's what you're going to get. And you're like, oh my God, I want that.
Yeah.
You had no idea.
Say, there's a whole other way of living on the other side of this. And I'd be like, what does she mean?
I need to know what it is to get it.
What is it? What the fuck is this? Is it really that great? And then when it hit me, I'm like, oh, she didn't even describe how fucking great this is. This is crazy. I feel like I'm a unicorn.
Yes, you do. I was like, I describe it as levitation. I levitated for like 2 years straight. I was like, had friendships with the trees. Okay.
Oh, I can see that.
I was like, oh my God, that tree is alive and it exists and it knows I'm here and I love it so much.
Totally.
I just remember, and I didn't even.
My mom has a beautiful tree in her yard, and I was just like, "You're so beautiful."
Just the way you are, exactly.
We're on this planet together. Something made us. What is it?
What is it? And it's massive.
Yeah.
And I am aware and it exists, and everything is so amazing.
And then I just like crying. I'm so happy. I'm just like, oh my God, what has even happened? Nothing's even. I'm sitting here in the same gigantic body. How did this even occur? Like,
it's not a physical problem you were suffering from.
Yeah, it's just like
there's no physical change that would change. It's not a physical problem. To think that losing weight would promote this type of experience is dead end.
Yeah, so dead end.
Dead end. It's not a physical problem. It doesn't. A physical solution will do nothing. Spiritual. Nothing. You could be the thinnest, hottest person in the world, and it would not bring what you've just experienced. Because it's a state of mind. It's a state of awareness. The closest person I have found to describe this is Dr. David R. Hawkins. I study his work. And he clearly has experienced this.
Wow.
And the other person I think is experienced is Maslow. How else could he create the hierarchy of needs to where he's the top one is bliss? What the fuck? How did you know that?
Yeah.
These are scientists who study human behavior, human consciousness.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, we're literally little aliens in these skin suits.
Right? Experiencing this planet. We're here to have an earthly experience, and we're going to sit here and be pissed that our body doesn't look good. Like, it doesn't look the way I wanted it to look. I was hoping to be hot.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. I'm happy. I'm just so grateful for just the whole thing, and I'm so grateful I wanted that I've been just working on. I'm just grateful for all of it. That I didn't just whatever. I mean, I did go on and on for a long fucking time.
That's okay. That's what you needed. That's what you needed. You needed that. So
if I had like the snap, I never would have unraveled all the shit about being controlling and thinking I'm right, and all the shit with my dad, and all the shit with there's just been so many things that have just been
needed.
And needing to be special, and all the chaos and all this shit, like just all the bullshit way I was acting.
I want you to know that for me it was the same. I had to get pretty bad for me to snap. I mean it was bad. Suicide. That's how long it took me. So a lot of times they think for me it was like so easy. Well, you didn't see what it took to get there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm over on the other side going, it's like this. And it was like that when I got there. It was like, kabam.
Yeah.
It just took a lot of fucking misery that I wasn't willing to face until I did.
Yeah. Just each piece of it and just.
Yeah, and I guarantee if you had a gun to your head, it would have happened a lot faster. Same thing,
Yeah,
a lot faster. So it's,
yeah.
I just don't think that it's necessary to have a gun to your head. You don't have to be in the processing of death to do it.
Yeah.
It does take death, however, to get there. And what it takes for someone to face that, it can take time, especially if there's no pressure to do it now.
Yeah, I've had some of that pressure. I wanted to do it now. I just wanted it to be done. Well, I actually wanted it to be done so that I could be recovering and lose weight.
Well,
That didn't work out.
Robin, I just want to recover from thin supremacy so I can be thin.
Yeah, I mean, that was really motivating. So that
Chasing your tail. You're chasing your tail.
once I realized that wasn't the ticket out, I was like, damn it.
Oh, well, that sucks. Now I have to look at being fat forever. Damn.
And now I have to look at feeling like I'm a piece of shit human being, that nagging feeling that's been following me around, and actually deal with it
And question the belief system that brainwashed you to think that way. You got it. It's like, am I really a shitty person if I'm not thin?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a shitty belief system. Maybe I shouldn't believe that crap.
Yeah, and just it's shitty some of the ways I was reacting and dealing with people, feeling so gross, but yet feeling justified and self-righteous, and just hating myself, and just not knowing where it came, and then to just be able to understand it and have compassion for myself. I was doing my best.
Yeah, you didn't have any malicious intention, for sure.
So,
all right.
Anyway.